Introducing today's guest is Shanna Alderliesten, the writer of Under the Dark Clouds, a sapphic romance. So, Shanna, I am going to do your makeup today and we are going to talk about your book.
Yes, very exciting.
Because this girl wrote a book, and not just any book. We are talking about Under the Dark Clouds today. A sapphic romance. Very interesting. It's not my genre to read, but it was quite interesting. So naturally, while I'm doing your makeup, and we are doing girly makeup, we are going to talk about your heroines.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. First of all, I'm actually curious how you came up with this idea. In general, how did you get to write a sapphic novel? Is this your first one?
Okay,
in this topic?
Okay, you're throwing several questions at me.
Yeah, I'm excited to know the background in general. So
okay, yeah, I can do that. So it's the first book that I've published. I have written more, but they're not out yet. There are more planned, so hopefully watch this space. This book specifically is very close to my heart because it features two girls who go storm chasing.
Yeah.
For everyone who doesn't know what that is, if you've ever seen the movie Twister or the movie Twisters that came out, I think 2024, 2 years ago, it is about tornado chasing, or storm chasing. So if there's a storm, people get in their cars and you try and catch the storm. And as a young child, I was in the garden with my dad, and my dad would always be thunderstorm in the distance. And my dad would always be like trying to explain the very basics of how a thunderstorm forms. And I was already fascinated by that. And then kind of as I got older, I discovered the movie Twister. So I'm giving away my age here a little bit. I grew up with the OG, just so everyone knows.
So millennial.
Yeah, definitely millennial.
Fellow
millennial, yes. And absolutely adored that movie because it's a great action movie. It got great soundtrack, fantastic actors, and obviously the storms and the tornadoes. So I thought that was really, really cool. And then I remember in 2007, I also worked with horses as a hobby, I want to say. And I remember being done at the stable, put the pony back in the stable, and I looked at the storm that I had seen growing as I was training this pony. And I was like, that looks pretty cool. And at that point I had my car, so I got in my car and I just decided to go. It was nothing special, but that was my first time that I just actively went out and see a thunderstorm. And it kind of grew from there. And then fast forward to 2015. I am originally Dutch, but I moved to the UK in 2014. Yes, 2014. And then 2015, I had already been looking at these so-called storm chasing tours in the States for several years. And then I got the funds together. So in 2015, I actually, 2014, I booked it. In 2015, I actually went to the States to chase there.
Oh, wow.
So that's where I saw the big stuff, basically, what you don't get here or don't get here often.
Do you get any, actually?
Yeah, I went on a storm chase, 2-3 weeks ago with a couple of friends.
Oh, wow.
You may remember it. It was.
I was inside, so.
Okay, you were inside. Okay, fine. Well, these are the nights that I go outside. We started in Germany. Storms didn't really fire there. And then we ended up kind of coming to this area. Actually, we're currently in Den Bosch, in the south of the Netherlands. And we ended up driving all the way to Almere.
Oh.
Yeah, it was
I know.
Yeah, it was about a 600K kind of trip that day. So long day, lots of driving. But we had a lot of wind, probably about, I don't know, I didn't see the charts actually, but probably 80 to 100K. There was quite big hail and I had to take shelter to save my car. I haven't seen if there's been any actual confirmations on radar. I would assume so, but there were funnels, spin-ups, probably some small tornadoes as well. Massive roll clouds, all of that. We saw it all.
Okay, quite some technical talk as well.
A lot of technical talk. If you do need me to explain any of them, then
absolutely. I am not familiar, only from what I read from the book and what I've seen in Twister, obviously.
Yeah. Well, it gives you a pretty good head start.
But it has quite a technical background.
Yes.
Some of it is mentioned in your book, but it's not, of course, it's not a technical book about storms. But I think that it's good to know a little bit about it in its technical form.
Yeah.
If you can explain, and then we can move back to the book, because basically chasing is the deal, not what is going on.
Yeah.
So
I will do my best. I will caveat here and say I'm not an expert. I do it as a hobby. So if I am making any mistakes, I'm sorry. So basically what you see with a standard thunderstorm is that it will have an updraft. So this is kind of where it sucks in the energy. So you're thinking about warm air, moist air, and that is kind of like what it feeds itself on. And then you have your downdraft, and that is your rain.
All right.
Or your hail, or depending how severe the storm is. Now, what you see with these specific supercells, as you know, you sometimes get here in the Netherlands, or in France gets them a lot more, is that at a certain point, due to what we call wind shear, so this is wind at different levels coming at a storm at different directions, that updraft starts tilting. So instead of having your updraft and your downdraft, that updraft then starts tilting, which means it can suck in warm air from over here, instead of basically killing itself off with the downdraft, so the cold air that circulates outside of it. And that's how you get these massive, massive thunderstorms that, as you see them in the States.
And that's a climate difference.
It's very much a climate difference.
That's why we don't get these. Why we don't have them as much here as
yeah. So in the States, what you really have there is the warm, moist air that comes from the Gulf of Mexico, and then the cold air that comes down from the Rockies.
Very impressive technical knowledge.
Yeah.
So I see it is a little more than hobby. I guess it's you're quite a knowledge base.
Oh, I don't feel like I am, but
well,
I suppose
above average. Above average.
Yeah, but like if you chase, you do have to know at least the basics. And then in the Netherlands, usually we don't get massive setups. The setup that we had 2-3 weeks ago, that was a pretty big setup. But that's also a setup where I then do not go out on my own, because I cannot drive, check the radar, and check the road to see where I need to go. Because that's, you need to pull over, and then if a storm approaches you at really high speed, you're going to be too late, and then it just gets too dangerous. So that's when we try and do it with like a little group.
Okay.
So that you have one driver, someone who checks the map, someone who keeps an eye on the radar. So you will have like 2 to 3 people in the car, because you do need to think about
fans.
Yeah, you do need to think about safety. Yeah, there's actually a surprising kind of storm chasing community even here.
That is amazing.
That
is really amazing to find a new, based on a book, to just find something new as an interest.
Yeah. So then I was already writing, and I came back from my chase in the States in 2015, and then in 2016 is when I originally wrote this book.
2016. Okay.
2016. So it's been a while. Things moved very, very fast. I found a literary agent, which was pretty cool, in the US. But the book ended up not selling. So over time, my agent and I parted ways. And I was a little burned out. I'd written a lot at that point, like lots of different drafts. I'd finished a couple. And I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to step away from now. So I stepped away from it. And then in 2024, the Twisters came out. So it's not a remake, it's not a sequel, it's not a prequel, but Twisters came out. And I just kind of said to myself, well, that is what I've been waiting for, because that the talk of a movie like that had been around for so long that I was like, well, if I want to do it, it is now or never.
To just go along with the
and then
topic.
I decided to just publish it myself. I did do some updates to it. Some of the songs that I used originally were older, so I tried to update them a little bit to a little bit more current.
Love Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift was already in there. So I think I just changed some of the Taylor songs, some of the other songs, well, just to reflect a little bit more. I've still kept some of the older Taylor songs in there too, though.
I'm not really a Swiftie, so I wouldn't know. But
that's okay. Flower is. So.
Yes, I noticed she was very.
Flower is a hardcore Swiftie. She would 100% have gone to the Eras tour
if she got in.
Yeah. Well, given April's funds, I reckon she would have.
All right. So speaking of the girls, I would really want to know, and also I'm guessing the audience as well, without really completely sort of spoiling the plot, how the characters came to you. Do they represent anyone you know? Is it based on yourself? Is it based on a friend?
No,
Walk me through it.
I think it's a tough one to explain because I think there's so many things that you draw inspiration from. Do want to caveat, not based on myself. The only thing that we do share is that we are both, or actually the three of us, we both like women. So we are all queer. So that was for me very important. That's definitely something that I wanted to write. And they're coming more. Storm chasing books are coming out there. But what was out there at that point, at least on the page, seemed to be straight people. And I wanted this topic specifically, and I make it queer. So that was, for me, was very, very important. We have April, who is a 17-year-old from Nashville, Tennessee. Her mom's a famous country singer, so I have a love for country music. So that was a no-brainer, I think. So she comes from quite a rich family, of course, because of her mom's career. Grew up very, not sheltered, but very protected, like safe environment. So she was always allowed to be who she was. Whereas Flower, who comes from Mississippi, is a very, very different vibe. She grows up in a trailer park. Her parents have a party, alcohol kind of lifestyle, but still have very, very high expectations of her, which is not entirely fair because she's the adult in the family. So that's really, I really wanted to have two different worlds to explore. And for the girls to kind of get that perspective of each other as well. So that's really, really what I wanted to do. And then Flower is 1 year younger. She's 16. And I really wanted to explore the different kind of family settings and different kind of family relationships. Like I've been very, very lucky with my family. I'm very, very close to them. So that was that for me, in a sense, I think.
Yes.
April was a little easier to write because that reflects my own situation better, at least in terms of family relationships. So for Flower, I really had to dig deep and be like, okay, so what would that look like? And how does that affect her? Is it just the cleaning up that she has to do? She comes home from school, she finds her parents drunk and passed out. What's the trailer going to look like? How else does that affect her? In terms of sleep, in terms of money, in terms of food. So that's really, I really had to dive into that and talk to people who are in less fortunate situations to kind of get their insight and sense check things as well. So I'm hoping I've done that justice.
Yeah, there was really a good character build of her to highlight that difference. That is something I noticed, and I also really enjoyed the queer side of it. You usually have this man-woman dynamic, but this was two young girls who are still also experiencing themselves and their growth.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in that sense, it was quite an interesting twist. pun intended, on a teen relationship, basically.
Yeah, so I tend to, if the short pitch of this book is like, if people, I always like, do you know the movie Twister? And people go like, yes. And I'm like, so it's Twister with teenagers and queer joy.
Yeah. Yes.
That's it in a nutshell.
Yes. It's yeah. I like that description. I can see that. I also feel like they're both somehow complementary to each other.
Yeah.
Was that something you meant to write? That
Yes.
They are sort of seem to be two opposite girls.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not just through the background, but also character.
Yeah. I really wanted to do two different people. And like I said before, like I think it was important for me to kind of explore that, for Flower to see that actually family relationships can be really, really different.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that she discovers throughout the book through kind of April's, a little bit of spoiler maybe, not that much, remaining family, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And to kind of like, to learn that it's okay to like open herself up again and kind of like accept that. And then there's more than just Uncle Charlie, who is very, very different from her parents. He's a good kind of guy. But to just see that difference. But then I also wanted to challenge them, for each other to challenge, the other one. And I think that's hoping what I did in the book as well, is that, one of them always apologized. The other girl's like, can you stop apologizing? It's the way it is. You cannot change what happened. You can only change what's in the future. So I thought that was something that I really wanted to do. And for them to kind of help each other grow and heal.
I do think for me there was sort of like a moment there when she asked for her drink and she threw it out the window.
Chapter 1.
That was really like a moment. Okay, I kind of get where this is going, and in a good way. I mean, you don't realize at first, of course, if you know the word sapphic.
Yeah.
Then you realize that this is going to be more than just friendship based. That there's a romantic element, but that type of moment, sort of like that care, I guess, for the other. Like, you should not do this. I will protect you from yourself.
That was already in chapter 1. Yes. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was like, and also like, these girls are 16, 17. They're underage to drink.
Exactly.
In the States any, as well. In any country.
In any country, yeah.
Yeah. So that for me was very important to also set that line and be like, don't throw your life away if you can at all, because some people go through such hardship.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I also wanted to give the message, like, it can be so hard to
keep eyes open.
It can be so hard to like find your people.
Absolutely.
But they are out there.
Absolutely. I totally got that these two girls meet in the middle of a storm when there's nobody. Nobody else to meet.
Yeah.
So that was also a nice touch towards the romantic part. It was a very good build-up, if I might say so.
Thank you.
But I would actually want to know what do you want to say at the most with this entire story? Like, what is your biggest message with a book like this?
That is such a good question. I think it comes down to what I just mentioned, is that find your people and found family. Like, even if you have a difficult family situation, find your people, because they are out there. And I think I've had that even like, when I moved to the UK in my 20s, that's where I found, specifically in the bookish community, that's where I found my people, and that then helped me grow as well. So yeah, I want to say keep searching for the people that will catch you when you fall and that will pick you up and dust you off.
That is a really it actually hits home to me right now as well. So that's a really interesting point. So I believe at any age, this message is really something that you can do something with
Yeah,
at any
absolutely.
age, when you're 16, 17, or when when you're older.
Absolutely. I think it's something that just, it's always valuable. But I think especially as a teen, whether you're not, whatever your struggle is, whether that's mental health, because that's a big aspect in this book as well, whether that's, your career identity, whether that's, your family situation, it applies to everything. And it's really hard. And I've gone through really hard times as well. I struggle with mental health. I've been stable for a long time now, thanks to my team. But I have an entire team behind me to, try and manage that. But it helps when you have those people, and the only way to get there is to try and find them.
And basically, then you melted these things together.
Yeah.
With the topic of storm chasing, which is quite an original. I gotta say, I looked up a bit some similar books, but there isn't a lot.
I think, to my knowledge, it's the only young adult sapphic storm chasing book out there.
Well, then you got your goal has been reached. That's
my niche.
Your niche has been found.
Which is funny, because the book that I'm currently working on is very, very different.
Okay, still a sapphic.
Actually, no, this one is not. And it's also because this is actually the first book that I ever finished. So I finished it in 2013, I think I want to say. And I'm doing an entire, I can't even call it a rewrite anymore. I kept the characters and the concept, and I ditched the rest, basically.
Okay.
So that's one that I'm working on now, which is actually hopefully going to be my adult debut.
Okay, so we were talking about the character build-up. I'm actually curious, who is your favorite character? Who do you maybe identify the most with? That's a three-parter. And do you recognize yourself, like, as a teen in any of the girls?
Wow, very, very tricky. Who's my favorite? I don't know if I have favorites.
You have to choose one.
I have to choose
Yes,
one?
you have to choose a favorite. Everyone has a favorite.
Do you have to be this mean?
Yes. Absolutely.
Not fair. I think I'm then going to go with Flower, because...
The underdog, I guess?
Yes, but also, like, despite all the hardship that she's gone through, she is faithful to herself. Whereas April is running away from it.
That's a good one.
So I think that's going to be my deciding factor in choosing between my girls. And it's a good thing they're fictional, because I think one of them would probably hate me right now.
Would you, when you came in your country outfit, I said that this is what I see Flower wearing.
I know.
Like, I see, that part of the US being quite country.
Yes.
So,
I mean,
yeah, hello.
They come from Nashville.
Yeah, hello.
Which is still on my list, by the way. I still haven't been.
So, how do you, because, you have a picture on the cover of the book of two girls, long hair.
Facing a tornado.
But I have a vision how they would look like. I guess, to be honest, I envision Flower as a blonde.
Oh, no, she's definitely brunette.
There was a description, of course, but how do you see them look like? And you know what? I'm going to throw a double in. Do you see them wear makeup?
Flower, no. Also because she didn't have the money. I can see after the book ends. So if anyone does read it, then first of all, thank you. Second of all, I think Flower will really grow into herself more post kind of epilogue. And I think, yes, she will want to. April, very much so. Like, her mom is obviously, she's a country singer. She goes from, lay back kind of casual clothing at home to, like, full glam when she goes to album releases and photo shoots and whatnot. So April's very much grown up with that side of it. And April is she's a lot more into fashion. She loves like creating her own clothing, which is interesting because I cannot even hem my jeans. So that's very far removed from me, very far removed from myself. But yeah, I think April has got her mom's style. So April can dress down and can dress up, but Flower never had much to choose from. It's thrift store kind of whatever is the cheapest that somewhat fits. So she's never had a chance to experiment with that. But yeah, I mean, she'll definitely start experimenting for sure.
All right, that's I had to throw in a makeup question since I'm doing your makeup right now. Do you see this type of girls actually being translated into real life? Like, do you think that they are the type of girls you would meet at a horseback riding?
Now you're throwing in the horses too. That's making it extra difficult.
Yeah.
Well, a fun fact is actually that I have been a country music fan for a very long time. I grew up at home on Shania Twain.
So Shanna is
that's unrelated.
Okay. And that don't impress me much.
Nice one. No, my parents really loved that album, and specifically that album. So they always had it on in the car. And again, dating myself as the millennial that I am, like we used to go on holiday to, France, and then we'd be in the car for a long time, and we'd still have like the old-fashioned Walkmans with the mixtapes. And then my parents would get the CD, and my mom would put it on the tape so that we could listen to it. And I was always listening to Shania Twain. So I went to a country concert yesterday. I went to Luke Combs yesterday with my mom. And I was talking to her, and I was like, it's not a surprise that I ended up loving country music as much as I do. Because I grew up on Shania Twain, and my mom laughed at that. She's like, yes, that you did. So that was very, very interesting. So yesterday it was actually, I think, Amsterdam. I'm surprised the Johan Cruyff Stadion still has a roof on it, because it was wild. So it was interesting to see just how many people were there in country outfits. And I said the same to my mom. I was like, I am far from the only one who's wearing cowboy boots right now. I was wearing the same ones as I'm wearing now. Don't think anyone can see it, but that's all right. So that was very, very interesting. And like cowboy hats, everything, the whole outfit. But it's also like I've been a fan of country music for a very long time. And then whenever I say that at work, even a decade ago in the UK, people always be like, oh, country music. And I'm like, why is this being dished on? It's great music. And it's interesting to see how much I think it has shifted over the years and how it's becoming more and more popular, both in the UK and in the Netherlands. Because Amsterdam definitely was a wild crowd yesterday. I will say it was very international. There were a lot of Americans there as well. I heard people from Ireland, from England, probably the north of England, based on the accent as well. And I'm only saying that because I lived in Newcastle for a while, so I recognize a Geordie accent when I hear one. I love Newcastle, by the way, so absolutely not dishing that. It was probably my favorite place to live. So it's very, very interesting to see that. And even to have an event yesterday where everyone just came together like that was not something I had experienced. So
really?
Not on that scale. I mean,
it's your first country?
No, I mean, I used to go all the time before COVID, but it was definitely the biggest one in the biggest stadium
here in the Netherlands.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's smaller than Wembley in London, but I think it's the same stadium. I think that Taylor Swift sold out. So. Okay, pretty big, and I think it was sold out yesterday. So, I just don't know the capacity, so I cannot tell you. But it was massive, and just everyone was cheering along at the songs, which is just a lot of fun.
That sounds really, really good.
Yeah.
So, coming back to the girls, would you see them as, a regular teen in 2026?
In 2026, yeah. And I think even a decade ago when I first wrote that book, those kind of different family situations happen. teens struggling to find their own identity, teens struggling with mental health, like especially for the queer community, right? We have always been here. And I know there's sometimes things going on where people are like, oh yeah, everyone's now, I'm like, that's not the case. If you go back in history, you will find, like, I'm going to just very quickly call it Bridgerton area just for reference. You will find people, female, who had like female companions. It was just slightly disguised, those kind of things. But queer people have always been around. So,
absolutely.
So yeah, no, you'll find them now, and I think you'll have found them in the past.
Of course, there's more openness, but some ways not. So, of course, a book like this finds the niche, I think.
That's the hope, yes. And I think in the States, especially at the moment, there's a lot going on in the US, for some of my queer friends that is making it hard.
In what way? I'm not sure if you want to discuss this part of the.
I mean, then we go into politics, so maybe not.
That's not the best.
I'm not going to go into politics very deeply, but I think a lot of my queer friends, especially trans, in the States specifically, I think at the moment, are struggling for various reasons that people will either know or can look up themselves. Yeah, and I think that's a shame, because I'm a very firm believer of everyone should be allowed to be who they are. And I always say, I don't care who you are, I don't care where you come from, in the sense that I also don't want to disregard someone's background, but in the sense that I respect where everyone comes from. And if you treat me with respect, that's what you're going to get back.
Live and let live.
Exactly. And I think that's very important.
All right. I'm actually curious how you are promoting the book then. Is it really the sapphic part most, or is the teen part the most?
I mean, it is pitched, of course, as a young adult. And I know some people are like, oh, it's teenagers, so I don't want to read it. I've actually had very surprising reactions at events of people who I didn't think wanted to buy the book ended up buying it, because there's usually a very big connection to Twister.
Yeah.
So that is
okay. So we don't care about the story. We don't care about girls, like, write us about storms.
They're like, we've got storms. It's Twister. Okay, yeah, I'll read it.
That's a funny point.
I know. So that's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But then it gets very specific people. I think often either like late teens, early 20s that look at like the sapphic romance and the mental health and the found family. And I think that really speaks to people as well. I've had one Swiftie as well, and she was like, that's an immediate buy. It's like, okay.
Seriously?
I've had one Swiftie immediately buy it, yeah.
That is so fun.
That was a lot of fun, yeah.
So many angles you are basically touching.
You have to give the characters something as well, right? If they both end up, really loving country music. And that's something that they have in common, of course. And you have read the book, so you know how that develops. With April originally, of course, saying that she doesn't like country, which is very much a lie. She loves country music.
That was our surprise as well. From, her being in Nashville.
She's like, oh, you're from Nashville, so you love country music. And April's like, no,
I don't.
Spoiler, she does. I think that's a spoiler we're allowed to.
Yeah, that's a little spoiler you're allowed to.
It's a little spoiler.
A little spoiler,
that's okay.
We got to give the people a little bit of a teaser.
Yeah.
All right. So you, in our quick talk just before this, you mentioned you have quite some hobbies.
Yeah. Yes.
Also, outside storm chasing.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
And how this hobby and this passion sort of comes back in your books, this one or any other future?
I mean, the storm chasing, I think, is quite obvious. We've talked on that. The country music we've touched on. The horses that I own horses. So I have a pony that I use for breeding. So she currently has a very adorable foal.
So you have a little one.
She's got a little one. Well, yeah, technically,
you're grandma.
I'm a grandma, yeah. That's a lot of fun. They don't actually end up in my books. I don't have a horse. I don't have a horsey book.
Okay.
I'm not saying I'll never write it, but I don't have horses in my books at the moment.
Is that on purpose?
So many stories to write, not enough time.
Okay.
I
Okay. Yeah.
think if I ever find the right one, I've got, okay, so we were talking before, like you said, right? You were like, is there going to be a sequel?
Yes. That would be my next or last question, to tease a little bit more.
Oh, well, I think it's too vague to use as a teaser, so I think I'll say it now.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's no sequel plan at the moment because I feel it's very full circle. But what I originally planned when I had my agent as well was because I'm outside of storm chasing, I'm also like fascinated by other natural disasters. So originally I was kind of planning to do standalone books and then each with a different kind of natural disaster.
All right.
So of course then, you can go with hurricanes, you can go with flooding, you can go, tsunamis,
Everything, yeah.
those are probably the ones that I would gravitate to. So I did have this. I don't know if this is ever going to happen, so please no one hold me to this. But I think if there's ever going to be a hurricane book, that will probably be set in the States again. And I have a feeling if that happens, that April and Flower will probably make a cameo at least.
Okay.
But again, I don't know if that will happen. So
Well, that's something to look forward to.
yeah, who knows?
But is this okay? We discussed in the beginning about storms being much more U.S. climate characteristic. Is that also the reason why you're setting this book in the U.S.?
Yeah,
and not England, for example.
Yeah, I think if you really want the big stuff to chase, then I mean, I'm not saying you can't get it in Europe because you can. Like France and Italy are more of hotspots as well. But the States is just really, really known for that weather pattern. Like April, May into June. It's massive, and they have like entire companies there who organize these storm chasing tours.
All right,
you can book a seat on the tour. That's what I did, because obviously I didn't go chasing on my own in the States. Like that's far too dangerous. Safety first.
And is this really something that a lot of people do there? Safely?
That's a very
not so very safe.
I like the last word of that. I think even when I was there to chase in 2016, there were people there who you could just see they were like probably late teens, a couple of boys, phone in their hand, reckless driving, which at least I cannot be sure, but it did indicate they had no idea what they were doing. Let's put it that way. And I think, anyone these days, anyone with a phone in a car can technically go storm chasing because it's become so accessible, right? Whereas in the past, you needed to have access to certain weather models to see what was going on, and all of that these days, like on your app, on your phone. So I think it's increased, I think, explosively, to stay in the weather terms as well. So yeah, I haven't been back personally, but a couple of people I know go to the States every year or at least a couple of years already in a row to chase. And there's also something called chaser convergence. It's like everyone being at the same storm, and then the real danger is not actually the weather, but the real danger is a massive traffic jam and not being able to get away when you need to.
That's actually, your book was something new, right, to me as well already. But I find this such an interesting insight to something that actually a lot of people pay attention to.
Yeah.
Amazing. Can you look down for me?
Yeah.
And is that also, would you say that something like this is a bit of an adrenaline chase?
I certainly can be. I always say, people are like, oh, so you must like roller coasters. Like, no, I absolutely hate roller coasters. I'd like my feet firmly on the ground. Thank you very much. Cami, I think for me, the most exciting thing about storm chasing, yes, I would love to see a tornado, absolutely. But for me, it's the development of a storm and the structure that can offer. And it can be so, so pretty. That I'm actually one of those people who probably prefer structure over a tornado.
Okay.
Unless I get both.
Okay.
Of course.
Structure over tornado.
Structure over tornado, yes.
What do you mean with structure? Can you look up for me?
So structure is really, I'm trying not to get too technical into this.
A little technical.
A little technical. It's like, okay, so you ever see, you must see a thunderstorm grow sometimes, in storm. You have those really bubbly clouds. It looks like cauliflower.
Moving too fast.
Yeah, moving fast, shooting upwards. I think that for me is like that initial initiation. I think that's what brings the most the adrenaline probably, because you're like, oh, it's finally happening, because storm chasing is a lot of waiting.
Yes.
And then crossing your fingers and hoping that it will happen. And sometimes the models look good and nothing happens in the end, because, it all needs to come together at the right time. And you need to be in the right location, which is not always easy. But I think the moment that you actually see a storm explode into the sky, I think that gives me most adrenaline, not the rest of it, which may be contradictory, but is actually what happens for me.
So the anticipation.
You have the anticipation, and then it's actually happening. And then after that, I'm often the driver, so then I need to stay calm and keep my eyes on the road.
Yeah, that's absolutely a good safety point in general. I'm doing your lips now, so I'm going to talk and just leave you a moment to think about the answer on this one. So you said Flower was your favorite character. Is it really the struggle that brings you there? Something that you didn't, the family part you didn't experience. So basically that you are drawing from inspiration of others. Or it's more the character she is becoming because of it.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I think what I love most about Flower is her tenacity. She's so stubborn, and she does take matters into her own hands, right? Because when we meet her at the start of the book, like, she's so sick and tired of her family situation that in chapter 1, you have this runaway girl on the side of the road in a tornado's path.
Who's pretty much ready to...
She's like, whatever happens to me is fine.
Whatever happens,
I don't care anymore.
Yes, exactly. So is it the tenacity then to grow from?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a little bit of a lapse in judgment for her. And it's not who she normally is, because she is a hardcore fighter. Like, whatever you throw at Flower, she will deal with it. And you'll see that obviously April has gone through something really, really rough, and she's. I mean, everyone. Let's caveat and say everyone deals with hardship in their own way.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to disregard, but like, Flower always faces things, a lot of things at least, head on. And I think that's what draws me to her most, because you made me choose.
Yeah,
you made me choose.
Yeah, I make you choose because I think that when you have the author of a book, at least with me, right? These days you have a lot more digital media and everything is thought up for you, basically. So I prefer to read the book first and then the movie, and not the movie first and then the book, because it's a huge disappointment. Someone already chose how the character is, what kind of a character.
I think books leave more imagination.
Yes, but when it is about a book, I do want to know what was in the head of the writer themselves, because it can be so different.
Yeah,
can be so different than what you imagine, and that's not pre-made in the.
In the movie it will be set.
In a movie, yes.
It's like what you see is what you get. Whereas I think books allow you to just read between the lines a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think depending on the author, there's always a little bit of room for that. And for that imagination. And you probably have noticed I am not overly descriptive on what my characters look like. And that is for a reason, because there's a lot of things that I can always picture very clearly. But the way my characters look is actually really hard for me. And my fellow authors usually find this very funny, because they can immediately be like, oh, it looks like this, and they look like that. And they wear this, and they wear that. And I have to think about that. I have to sit myself down and really think about, okay, so this is their character, so what matches with that?
All right, so we discussed the book, we discussed the characters. In the meantime, I gave you a new look, which is now ready and hopefully inspiring a new character.
Oh, that'd be fun. That would be fun. Oh, dat is super gaaf. Kijk dan. Dankjewel.